6 months had passed since Resolution 774-1. The galaxy looked completely different now. The Galactic Council still existed, but it was a shadow of its former self. Half its members had left. The rest were divided and uncertain. Earth sat at the center of a new power structure. The Free Worlds Coalition had grown to 800 systems, not through conquest but through choice. Species joined because they wanted protection and fairness, not domination. President Dayun stood before the Coalition Assembly. Representatives from hundreds of worlds filled the chamber. This was not like the old council. Here, every voice mattered. Every vote counted. "We stand at a crossroads," Dayun said. "The old ways are dying. A new galaxy is being born. We can shape what it becomes. Will we repeat the mistakes of the past? Or will we build something better?" Ambassador Hyunwoo had a new title now, Secretary General of the Free Worlds Coalition. He sat beside Da-un, older and more tired than before but satisfied. "The remaining council members have requested peace negotiations," he told the assembly. "They want to end hostilities. They offer recognition of Earth's sovereignty and our right to defend ourselves." "What do they want in return?" asked a representative from a small world. "Mostly they want us to stop expanding. They fear we are building an empire, are we?" another representative asked. Daeun answered firmly. "No, we are building something different. Not an empire, a community. Anyone can join. Anyone can leave. But while you are with us, we protect you. And what do we owe Earth?" "Nothing," Daeun said. "Except your commitment to peace, democracy, and rights for all citizens. We do not want tribute. We do not want to rule you. We want to live in a galaxy where everyone can choose their own path." The assembly voted. The decision was unanimous. They would negotiate peace, but from a position of strength. The peace summit was held on a neutral station. What remained of the Galactic Council sent their diplomats. The Free Worlds Coalition sent theirs. And watching everything broadcasting to the entire galaxy were thousands of reporters. The Council expected Earth to make demands: territory, resources, subjugation. Instead, President Dayun proposed something they never expected. "The Accord of Sol," she announced. 5 simple principles for a new galaxy. She displayed them on the main screen. First, all species have the right to self-determination. No one can be forced to join or leave any alliance. Second, no civilization may claim another's home system without consent. What happened to us will never happen to anyone else. Third, disputes will be resolved through arbitration, not force. We will talk before we fight. Fourth, military forces may exist for defense, not conquest. Everyone has the right to defend their home. Fifth, the galaxy will be governed by consent, not coercion. Power comes from the people, not from weapons. The council representatives were stunned. You are giving up your advantage?" Ambassador Hyunwoo smiled. "We never wanted an advantage. We wanted to be left alone. You would not let us. So instead, we will teach you what we learned. Peace is not weakness, and the strongest warrior is the one who never has to fight." "Why?" asked an old counselor. "Why forgive us so easily? We tried to take your home." "Because we have been you," Hyunwoo replied quietly. "Earth spent thousands of years conquering each other, enslaving each other, destroying each other. We almost ended ourselves many times. But we learned, we grew, we changed. Everyone is capable of terrible things, but everyone is also capable of growth. You made a mistake, a terrible mistake. But mistakes can be teachers. If you learn from this, then something good can come from something bad." The negotiations took 3 weeks. In the end, both sides agreed. The Accord of Sol became the foundation for a new galaxy. Captain Taeyang began his new mission with mixed feelings. Earth was reducing its military by 40%. Ships were being decommissioned. Weapons were being dismantled. Soldiers were going home. "Do you think this is wise?" Admiral Youngjae asked him. "We just won a war. Why make ourselves weaker?" "We are not making ourselves weaker," Taeyang replied. "We are making the galaxy stronger. Look." He pointed to a training facility. Inside, officers from 20 different species were learning human defensive tactics. The Keltharians, the Morvine, even some Dravine. We are teaching them how to defend themselves, how to think like we think, how to fight like we fight, not to conquer but to protect. And if they use that knowledge against us, then we made a mistake. But I do not think they will, because we are also learning from them. Their science, their culture, their wisdom. We are building trust. That is stronger than any weapon. Dr. Jiwan walked through the Institute of Sapient Understanding. The campus sprawled across Luna's surface. Students from 200 worlds studied here. Humans learned alien mathematics. Aliens learned human philosophy. Everyone learned from everyone. This is my favorite place, Jiwan told a visiting journalist. Not the weapons, not the ships. This knowledge, understanding, this is how we prevent the next war. By teaching each other. Exactly. It is hard to hate someone when you understand them. It is hard to attack someone when your children study together. We are building connections. Those connections are stronger than any alliance treaty. Commander Il-sung oversaw the withdrawal of Earth forces from occupied territory. Every Dravine world was being returned to local control. Human soldiers were leaving, but they left behind gifts. These are defensive satellites, Il-sung explained to a Dravine governor. They will protect you from pirates and raiders. We are also leaving technical specifications. You can build more if you need them. Why would you give us this technology? Because Earth cannot protect everyone, but we can teach you to protect yourselves. That is the point. We do not want dependencies. We want partners. The Dravine governor looked confused. This is not how empires behave. We are not an empire. We never wanted to be. We just wanted to be safe. Now we are making everyone else safe too. Researcher Yoonji published her final report. The Silence Before the Storm, How Humanity Taught the Galaxy to Choose Peace. It became required reading in schools across hundreds of worlds. Children learned about Earth's history. The terrible wars. The nuclear standoffs. The moment humanity chose peace. We teach this so no one else makes our mistakes, Yoonji explained. We paid for these lessons in blood. Millions died so we could learn. Now we share those lessons freely. Maybe that gives their deaths meaning. On Mars, Private Kyung-soo started teaching at a military academy. Young cadets from Earth and other worlds learned from him. War is not glorious, he told them. It is terrible. Necessary sometimes, but always terrible. Your job is not to be good at war. Your job is to be so prepared for war that no one dares start one. Is that not the same thing? A student asked. No. Being good at war means wanting to use your skills. Being prepared for war means hoping you never have to. There is a big difference. Elder Ji-hoon spent his final days in peace. He was 93 now. Too old for interviews or speeches, but young soldiers still visited him. Tell us about the old wars, they would ask, and he would tell them, not glorifying the battles, not celebrating the victories, but explaining the costs, the losses, the mistakes. We learned that war is easy to start and hard to stop, he would say. We learned that everyone thinks they are the good side. We learned that the only way to prevent war is to make peace more attractive than fighting. How do we do that? By building a galaxy where everyone has something to lose, where everyone is connected, where attacking your neighbor means hurting yourself. That is what Earth is trying to build. Not through force, but through choice. 10 years after Resolution 7741, Ambassador Hyunwoo returned to the same council chamber where it all began. But everything was different now. The chamber was full. 3,000 worlds sent representatives, not just the old council but hundreds of new members. The Free Worlds Coalition and what remained of the council had merged into something new, the United Galactic Assembly. A young Dravine counselor approached Hyunwoo. She was born after the war. She had only known peace. Ambassador Hyunwoo, may I ask you something? Of course. Why did humanity forgive us so quickly? We tried to take your home. We killed your people, yet you help us now. Why? Hyunwoo smiled. It was the same question everyone asked eventually. Because we understood something the council did not. We had been you. Earth spent thousands of years making the same mistakes you made. Pride, arrogance, assuming might makes right. We nearly destroyed ourselves learning better. When we reached the stars, we decided never again. We would be peaceful. We would follow the rules. We would stay quiet. But you took that silence as weakness. You forced us to show you that peace and strength are not opposites. And in doing so, you gave us a chance. A chance to teach the galaxy what we learned in our darkest moments, which is that the species that survives is not the strongest or the most ruthless. It is the one that learns to choose peace while remembering how to fight. That knows when to be silent and when to speak. That values life over power. The young counselor thought about this. So Earth stayed quiet for 200 years. Not because you were weak? Exactly. We stayed quiet because we were strong enough to choose silence. But you made a fatal mistake. You forgot that silence is a choice, not a surrender. 1 week had passed since the battle. The Galactic Council was in chaos. Emergency sessions ran day and night. Representatives shouted at each other. Some demanded more military action. Others called for peace. Councillor Vexthar sat in chains. He was charged with incompetence and failure. His career was over. His empire was humiliated. On Earth, celebrations had ended. Now came the hard part. President Daun met with her military commanders. The Council's main fleet is broken, Admiral Youngjay reported. But they still have reserve forces, and some empires did not send their ships to the battle. What do you recommend? Daun asked. We pursue. We show them that attacking Earth has consequences, but we do it carefully. We are not conquerors. We are defenders. Commander Ilsung led the pursuit force. His fleet jumped into Dravine space 3 days after the battle. The Dravine had 12 colony worlds in this sector, but Ilsung's orders were specific. No civilian targets, no unnecessary destruction. They were there to make a point, not to kill. Attention, Dravine Defense Forces, he broadcast. Earth does not want your worlds. We want you to understand that our home is not for sale. Stand down and no one needs to die today. Most Dravine ships withdrew. A few tried to fight. They learned quickly that human ships were faster, smarter, and more dangerous than anything they had faced before. Within 3 weeks, Ilsung's forces had captured 12 Dravine worlds. But they did not occupy them like conquerors. Instead, they called meetings with local governments. Earth has no interest in ruling you, Ilsung told the Dravine governor of the First World. You can govern yourselves, but you will not threaten us again. Choose. Join our alliance or stay neutral, but never be our enemy. The governor was shocked. You are giving us back our world? It was never ours to take. We just needed you to understand. We will defend ourselves always. Word spread quickly. The humans were different. They did not want an empire. They just wanted to be left alone. Back at the council station, Magistrate Korthine delivered a shocking ruling. The ancient judge had reviewed all the evidence. His decision was clear. Resolution 7741 violated Galactic Law Article 12, he announced to the full council. No member may claim inhabited systems without consent. Earth's defensive war is legally justified. All member species must cease hostilities immediately. Half the council erupted in fury. This is outrageous. They destroyed our fleet. Because you attacked them first, Korthine replied calmly. Under the law, they had every right to defend themselves, and they have shown remarkable restraint. They could have destroyed your fleets completely. Instead, they let survivors retreat. But they are primitives. No, Korthine said quietly. They are not. We just assumed they were. That was our mistake. Chancellor Rincio arrived at the council station to replace Ambassador Hyunwoo. She was younger, fiercer, and less patient than her predecessor. My name is Rinseo, she told the council. I am here to deliver a message from Earth. The chamber grew quiet. For 200 years we watched you. We learned your laws. We studied your ways. We saw your peace and respected it. We saw your strength and quietly matched it. She looked directly at the councilors who had voted for Resolution 7741. You mistook our peace for weakness. You mistook our compliance for inability. You mistook our silence for ignorance. Those were grave mistakes. We are not your enemies. We never wanted to be. But you came to our home with weapons. You threatened our families. You forced us to show you what we are capable of. And now you know. We are a species that spent 10,000 years perfecting warfare. We got so good at killing that we almost destroyed ourselves. That is why we chose peace. Not because we could not fight, but because we could fight too well. The council chamber was silent. Some representatives looked ashamed. Others looked angry. Many looked frightened. On Earth, researcher Yoonji published her report. It was titled The Human Paradox: How We Became Peaceful by Being Too Good at War. The report spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Every species read it. Everyone wanted to understand what had happened. Yoonji explained human history in simple terms. The constant wars, the weapons that grew more terrible with each generation, the nuclear bombs that could destroy entire cities. The moment humanity looked at their own capability for destruction and decided to stop. They did not become peaceful because they forgot how to fight, the report concluded. They became peaceful because they remembered how good they were at it. And they never forgot those lessons. The report terrified many species. because it meant humanity had been holding back. The Battle of Seoul was not humanity at full strength. It was humanity defending itself with restraint. What would they do if truly unleashed? Elder Ji-hoon gave an interview that was broadcast across the galaxy. He was 90 years old and had fought in Earth's last major war before space travel. "I was a soldier once," he told the interviewer. "I saw terrible things. I did terrible things. When the war ended, I promised myself I would never fight again." "But you trained the current military," the interviewer said. "Yes, because I learned something important. The best warrior is the one who never has to fight. True strength is choosing peace when you could choose violence. Earth chose peace for 200 years. But the Council took away that choice? Exactly. Peace only works when both sides choose it. The Council chose violence, so we had to remind them why we chose peace in the first place. We are very, very good at violence. That is why we avoid it." Small species began leaving the Council. They formed the Free Worlds Coalition and asked Earth for protection. President Dayoon addressed their representatives. "We will protect you, but understand our terms. You must be democracies. You must respect the rights of all your citizens. And you must never use our protection to threaten others. We are not building an empire. We are building a community." Within 2 months, 300 worlds joined the Free Worlds Coalition. The Galactic Council was fracturing. Half their members had left. Captain Tae Yang began his new assignment. The Decommissioning and Education Initiative. Earth would reduce its military by 40%, but they would teach defensive strategy to any species that wanted to learn. "Why would you do that?" asked a Keltharian officer. "Why give away your advantage?" "Because an armed galaxy where everyone can defend themselves is more stable than a galaxy where only the strong survive," Tae Yang explained. "We do not want to be the strongest. We want everyone to be strong enough that no one dares start a war. That is unusual thinking, perhaps, but we learned it the hard way, through blood and fire. Now we share those lessons so others do not have to learn them the same way." Dr. Ji-won established the Institute of Sapient Understanding, a university where all species could learn from each other. The first semester had students from 50 different worlds. "We are not just teaching human knowledge," Ji-won explained. "We are learning from everyone. Alien philosophy, alien science, alien art. Earth was isolated for too long. Now we share everything." Private Kyung-soo returned home to Mars. The war was over for him. He had survived. But he was changed. "I never want to fight again," he told his family. "But I'm glad I know how, because now I understand what the old soldiers always said. Peace is not the absence of capability. It is the choice not to use it." His grandmother smiled. "Now you understand. Now you are truly human." On the council station, the remaining members debated their future. Some wanted to continue fighting, but most realized the truth. They could not win. Not against an enemy that had spent 200 years preparing. Not against an enemy with nothing to lose. The galaxy had changed. Earth was no longer a quiet observer. They were a new power, different from the old empires. Not interested in conquest, but absolutely committed to defense. And somehow that made them more dangerous than any conqueror, because you could negotiate with someone who wanted something. But how do you negotiate with someone who just wants to be left alone and has the power to enforce it? The council had learned a hard lesson. One they would never forget. Never mistake silence for weakness. 28 days had passed since the vote. The Galactic Armada gathered at the edge of the solar system like a dark cloud. 2,400 warships from 14 different empires. Each ship was massive, bristling with weapons. Councillor Vexthar stood on the bridge of his flagship. Through the main view screen, he could see Earth's sun shining in the distance. Soon that system would belong to the Council. "Send the ultimatum," he commanded. The message broadcast across all frequencies. Every human facility in the solar system received it. "People of Earth, you have 24 hours. Begin evacuation or face forced removal. Your legal delays are over. Magistrate Korthine has ruled that enforcement cannot wait forever. Choose wisely." On Earth, President Dayoon stood in the Global Command Center. Around her, screens showed the enemy fleet. So many ships. But she did not look worried. "Admiral Youngjae, are we ready?" "Yes, Madam President. All systems are standing by. Then it is time." Daon took a deep breath. "Connect me to all galactic channels. I want everyone to hear this." Her face appeared on screens across the galaxy, in the council chamber, on every ship in the Armada, on 1,000 different worlds. "I am President Dayoon of Earth," she began. Her voice was calm but firm. "We have reviewed the Council's resolution. We have consulted galactic law, and we have made our decision." She paused, letting the silence build. "Humanity will not be leaving our home. Not today. Not ever." Angry voices erupted on the Council channel. Vexthar laughed, but Daun continued. "For 200 years we have been peaceful. We followed every law. We caused no wars. We threatened no one. But now you threaten us. You have made a fatal mistake." Her eyes grew cold. "You assumed silence meant weakness. You assumed compliance meant inability. You assumed because we did not build dreadnoughts, we could not fight. In 24 hours, you will learn the difference between choosing peace and being incapable of war." The transmission ended. Vexthar laughed again. "Empty threats. Prepare the fleet. Tomorrow we show them the price of defiance." But some of the other admirals looked nervous. They had read human history files. They knew about Earth's past. "Sir," one commander said, "perhaps we should reconsider. The humans fought brutal wars for thousands of years. Ancient history." Vexthar dismissed. "They are soft now, peaceful. They will not fight." On Mars, Private Kyung-soo recorded what he thought might be his last video diary. "Tomorrow we fight," he said to the camera. "My grandmother told me stories about the old wars. World wars. Nuclear standoffs. She said we almost destroyed ourselves a dozen times. But then we learned. We became peaceful." He smiled sadly. "But Grandma also said something else. She said we did not become peaceful because we forgot how to fight. We became peaceful because we remembered how good we were at it. Tomorrow the galaxy gets a reminder." In the asteroid belt, Colonel Minji walked among her crew. They were preparing the mass drivers. Massive machines that could throw rocks at incredible speeds. "Are we really doing this?" a young engineer asked. "Fighting the entire galaxy?" "We are not fighting the galaxy," Minji replied. "We are fighting those who want to take our home. And yes, we are really doing this. But they have so many ships, they have bigger ships. We have better strategy. They fight with honor and formations. We fight to survive. There is no honor when your family's life is at stake." On Luna, scientist Heywan activated the final preparations for the Luna array. The massive system hummed to life. Power readings climbed higher and higher. "All stations report ready," her assistant said. "Excellent. When this goes active, every human ship, station, and weapon will be perfectly coordinated. They will act as one mind. One purpose. Will it be enough?" Heywan looked at the Earth through the observation window. "It has to be." General Dong-hyun sat in Earth's war room. He was the supreme commander of all human forces. For 40 years, he had prepared for a war he hoped would never come. Now it was here. "All units, this is command," he said into his communicator. "Operation Avalanche is active. You have your orders. Hold positions until they fire first. We need them to be the aggressors. For the law." Across the solar system, responses came back. From Mars. From the asteroid belt. From Jupiter's moons. From the hidden fleet. "Understood. Weapons ready. Awaiting orders." Commander Soo-jung stood on the bridge of the Defender. It was Earth's only officially recognized warship. Small compared to the enemy vessels. But it did not need to be big. "Move us to the front," she ordered. "Between them and Earth." "Ma'am, we are only one ship. They have thousands. They need to see that we are not afraid. Besides, we are not really alone." Behind the Defender, invisible to most sensors, 3,000 other ships waited in the asteroid belt. Each one had been disguised as a cargo vessel for 200 years. Now they dropped their civilian covers. Lieutenant Jae-hyun checked his instruments aboard Silent Thunder. The ship looked like a cargo hauler, but appearances were deceiving. "Dropping cargo containers," he said. The containers floated away. Inside each one were weapons, missiles, drones, surprises. "This is Comet Leader to all Comet Squadron," he broadcast. "Stay hidden until the order." Then we hit them fast and hard. 10,000 pilots responded. "Understood, Comet Leader." The hours passed slowly. Across the solar system, humans waited. Soldiers, scientists, civilians. Everyone knew what was coming. Finally, the countdown reached 0. Counselor Vexthar gave the order. "All ships attack formation. Target Earth's orbital stations. Destroy their infrastructure. Show them this is futile." The Galactic Armada moved forward. Energy weapons charged. Missiles loaded. They crossed into the solar system. Admiral Young Jae watched them come. "Hold," he whispered. "Hold, the enemy fleet fired." Beams of pure energy lanced toward Earth's orbital stations. Explosions bloomed across the planet's orbit. Stations shattered and burned. For 5 minutes, it looked like Earth was doomed. Then Ambassador Hyunwoo's voice echoed across all channels. Calm, almost amused. Article 47 of Galactic Law permits self-defense against unprovoked aggression. The Council has fired first. Earth is now legally at war. Thank you for making this simple. General Dong-hyun smiled grimly. All units. Weapons free. The asteroid belt erupted. 3,000 warships that had been disguised as cargo vessels suddenly appeared. Their weapons ports opened. Their engines flared to life. Colonel Minji gave the order. Mass drivers fire! Rocks the size of buildings accelerated to incredible speeds. At 1/10 the speed of light, nothing could stop them. They were too fast for shields, too massive to deflect. The first wave hit the enemy fleet. 20 ships exploded instantly. 30 more were crippled. What was that? Vexthar screamed. Where did those come from? The asteroid belt, sir. Those mining facilities were not mining facilities. Lieutenant Jae-hyun led Comet Squadron out of hiding. The small fighters were so fast that enemy sensors could not track them properly. Their weapons, called mining lasers by the Council, cut through warship armor like paper. This is for our home, Jae-hyun shouted as he fired. Behind Jupiter, Admiral Bo-ra smiled. Her fleet had been hiding there for 200 years. The radiation from Jupiter's magnetosphere had concealed them perfectly. Hidden fleet, advance me, she ordered. 200 massive ships emerged from behind the gas giant. Each one was a fortress. Each one had been built in secret. The enemy fleet began to panic. They were supposed to be fighting primitives. Instead, they were fighting a coordinated, prepared, and very angry enemy. Tactician Gina watched the battle from Earth. This was her strategy. 200 years of planning. They fight with honor, she said. In formations. Following doctrine. We fight with chaos. With creativity. With desperation. We will win. Dr. Sang-woo's research came alive. Weapons that the Council had never seen. Ships that moved in ways that defied their understanding of physics. Tactics that made no sense. Until they worked. Counselor Vexthar watched his fleet fall apart. Impossible. How can primitives do this? Ambassador Hyunwoo's voice answered. We are not primitives. We just let you think we were. Vexthar ordered a retreat. Hyunwoo's response was cold. Galactic Law, Article 52. An aggressor may not retreat until reparations are negotiated. You wanted a war. We will tell you when it is over. The battle raged for 6 hours. When it ended, 840 enemy ships were destroyed. 600 more were damaged and fleeing. Earth lost 23 ships. 47 were damaged. The galaxy watched in shock. The primitives had won. The morning sun rose over Geneva, Switzerland. President Dayoon stood on a balcony overlooking the city. In 15 days, all of this might be gone. Unless their plan worked, her communicator buzzed. It was Ambassador Hyunwoo calling from the Council station. Good morning, Madam President, he said. I have submitted our response to Resolution 7741. What kind of response? Dayoon asked. A 4,000-page document requesting clarification on various legal definitions under galactic law. Dayoon smiled. How long will that take them to review? Magistrate Korthine is required by law to examine every question. I estimate 3 to 4 weeks. But they only gave us 30 days. Exactly, Hyunwoo said. While they read legal documents, we prepare. It is all completely lawful. Dawn nodded. What kind of questions did you ask? Simple things. What is the legal difference between a military vessel and an armed civilian ship? What defines a weapon versus industrial equipment? When does a cargo transport become a warship? And they have to answer all of this? Every single question. Galactic law is very thorough. They created these rules to protect themselves. Now those same rules protect us. After the call ended, Da-eun went to her office. Admiral Youngjae was waiting with status reports. The Council is watching us closely, the Admiral said. They have spy satellites monitoring our facilities. Let them watch, Da-eun replied. Everything we are doing is legal. We are just conducting normal operations. Normal operations that happen to prepare us for war? They do not need to know that. In the asteroid belt, Colonel Minji gave her morning briefing. Her facility looked like any other mining operation. Large machines, cargo ships, and workers in spacesuits. But appearances were deceiving. Team leaders report status, Minji ordered. Mass Driver 1 through 20 operational, said the first team leader. We can launch payloads at .1 light speed. Payloads? Asked a new worker. You mean rocks? The team leader smiled. Very specific rocks. Tungsten iron composition. 50,000 tons each. We have been positioning them for 200 years. The new worker's eyes widened. Those are not mining tools. Those are weapons. No, Minji corrected. They are mining tools that can also be weapons. There is a difference. A legal difference. On Earth, engineer Subin walked through a massive shipyard hidden under the ice of Antarctica. Rows of ships filled the hangar. Each one was 3 kilometers long. Cargo vessels? Asked her assistant. That is what the registry says, Subin replied. The council approved every design. They thought the thick armor was for meteor protection. They thought the power cores were for long-distance hauling. They thought the weapons ports were for pirate defense. Were they wrong? Not exactly. These ships can do all those things. But they can also do much more. Subin patted the hull of the nearest ship. We have 3,000 of these. The council thinks we have 50. Where are the others? Hidden. In the asteroid belt. Behind the moons. In the Kuiper belt. Waiting. Lieutenant Jae-hyun sat in the pilot seat of his ship, Silent Thunder. It was officially registered as a cargo hauler. But Jae-hyun knew what it really was. Running pre-flight checks, he said to his co-pilot. Engines at full power. Shields charged, weapons. Mining lasers. Operational. Do you think they will really attack? His co-pilot asked. I hope not, Jae-hyun said. But if they do, they will be surprised. Every pilot in the fleet has been training for this. Not just us. 10,000 ships. 10,000 crews. All waiting for the order. On the council station, Magistrate Cortine sat in his office surrounded by documents. He was old even for his species. He had served the Galactic Council for 800 years. These questions from the humans, his assistant said. Some of them are quite clever. Clever? Cortine asked. They are asking about legal definitions that have never been properly defined. For example, when does defensive capability become offensive capability? When does a research station become a military base? Cortine read through several pages. His expression grew troubled. These are not simple questions. Some of these will take months to answer properly. Should I tell Counselor Vexthar? No, the law is clear. I must review every question before the resolution can be enforced. The humans are using our own laws against us, is that not improper? No, Cortine said quietly. It is brilliant. Counselor Vexithar did not care about legal delays. He was a warrior, not a lawyer. He called a meeting with his military commanders. Gather the fleet, he ordered. I want every ship from every allied empire. We will assemble at the edge of human space. Sir, the magistrate has not completed his review, one commander said. I do not care. The humans need to see our strength. When they see our fleet, they will surrender without a fight. How many ships should we bring? Vexthar smiled. All of them. 2,400 capital ships. The humans have what? 50 small vessels? They will not dare resist. Back on Earth, Dr. Ji-won analyzed the intelligence reports. The Council was moving ships toward human space. 14 different empires were sending their fleets. She called President Da-un immediately. They are coming, she said. 2,400 capital ships. Maybe more. When will they arrive? 13 days. They think we are bluffing. Da-un looked at her military advisors. Are we ready? Yes, Madam President, Admiral Young-jae confirmed. Every system is operational. Every crew is prepared. We just need the word, not yet. Let them come closer. Let them think they have already won. On Mars, Private Kyung-soo continued his video diary. He recorded every day now. The galaxy thinks we are weak, he told the camera. They see our small fleet and think we cannot fight. But my training instructor told us something interesting. He said the most dangerous opponent is not the one who wants to fight. It is the one who does not want to fight but knows how. What does that mean? Another soldier asked. It means we spent 10,000 years perfecting warfare. We got so good at killing each other that we almost destroyed our planet. That is why we stopped. Not because we forgot how to fight, but because we remembered how good we were at it. In the asteroid belt, a ship drifted near Jupiter. It was a small research vessel from the Keltharian Consortium. The analyst inside was reviewing data about Earth's facilities. Something did not make sense. The power signatures were too high. The research stations had more energy capacity than they needed. The mining facilities had equipment that seemed excessive. The analyst ran calculations. then ran them again. The results were terrifying. He sent an urgent message to the council. Sirs, I believe those are not research stations. I believe they are. His ship's system suddenly went dark. Life support, communications, everything. When the ship was found 3 days later, it was empty. The crew had vanished. There was no sign of struggle. Just a note in English written on the control panel. Stop looking. Ambassador Hyunwoo heard about the incident. He knew Earth's intelligence service had been busy. They could not let the council discover the truth. Not yet. He sent a message to President Da-eun. They will be here in 10 days. Vexthar is bringing everything he has. Da-eun replied immediately. Good, let him come. Let them all come. We are ready. Hyunwoo looked out at the stars. The council thought this would be a simple show of force. They thought humans would see their fleet and surrender. They had no idea what was waiting for them. Earth had been preparing for 200 years. Every research station, every mining facility, every cargo ship, all of it had been designed with one purpose: defense. And if the council forced them to use it, they would learn a painful lesson. Never mistake silence for weakness, never mistake peace for inability, and never threaten someone who has nowhere left to run. The countdown continued. 10 days remained. The council chamber floated in space like a giant jewel. Inside, representatives from 847 different worlds sat in their designated seats. Some had fur, some had scales, and some looked like walking crystals. They had gathered here for 12,000 years to keep peace across the galaxy. Ambassador Hyunwoo sat in the human section. He was a tall man with gray hair and calm eyes. He wore a simple black suit, while other ambassadors wore elaborate robes and armor. Beside him, his assistant checked her datapad nervously. The vote was about to begin. Councillor Vexthar stood at the center platform. He was from the Dravine Empire, a race of warriors who had conquered 50 systems. His red scales gleamed under the lights as he spoke. The matter before us is simple, Vexthar announced. The Sol system contains resources that the galaxy needs. Earth and its colonies will be relocated to designated worlds. The humans will be compensated fairly. This is for the greater good. Hyunwoo listened without expression. Around him, other ambassadors whispered to each other. Some looked uncomfortable, others nodded in agreement. We now vote on Resolution 7741, Vexthar continued. All in favor? Lights began appearing across the chamber. Green lights meant yes. Red lights meant no. Hyunwoo watched as more and more green lights filled the room. The final count appeared on the main screen. 784 voted yes. 63 voted no. Earth's vote, as always, did not count. They were observers, not full members. The resolution passes, Vexthar declared with satisfaction. Humanity has 30 days to begin evacuation. Hyunwoo stood slowly. The chamber grew quiet. Everyone wanted to see how the humans would react. Most species would be angry. Some would threaten war. Others would beg for mercy. The people of Earth will need to discuss this matter, Hyunwoo said calmly. Vexthar laughed. Discuss? There is nothing to discuss. The vote is final. Will you comply? We have always followed galactic law, Hyunwoo replied. To the letter. Something in his tone made a few ambassadors shift nervously. But Vexthar only smiled. Good, you have 30 days. Do not make us come and force you. Hyunwoo bowed slightly and walked out. His assistant hurried after him. Sir, what do we do? She asked once they were alone. Send the message, Hyunwoo said quietly. Autumn protocol is active. Far away on Earth, President Da-eun received the encrypted message. She sat in the Global Defense Council chamber, surrounded by military leaders and scientists. Her face was tired but determined. They voted against us, she said to the room. Vexthar and his allies want our home. What are our orders, Madam President? Asked Admiral Youngjae. He was an old soldier who had served for 40 years. Da-eun looked at a folder on her desk. It was labeled Contingency, if they ever push too far. The file was 200 years old, created the day after humans first met aliens. Gentlemen and ladies, she said, for 2 centuries we have been good neighbors. We followed their rules. We stayed in our system. We built only what they allowed us to build. She paused. But we also prepared for this day. She opened the folder and passed documents around the table. They think we are weak because we are quiet. They think we cannot fight because we choose not to. They are about to learn the difference. Admiral Youngjae smiled grimly as he read the documents. Should I activate the defense grid? Not yet, Dayun said. Let them think we are afraid. Let them come closer. Captain Taeyang, how is the Silent Watch? Captain Taeyang, commander of Earth's defensive fleet, stood. All ships are ready, Madam President. We have been ready for 200 years. And the research stations? Dayun asked. Dr. Jiwon, the chief scientist, nodded. Every station is operational. The Luna array is charging. The asteroid facilities are standing by. They still think we are just mining rocks and studying space. Daon looked around at her team. We vote now. The Council has given us a choice. Run or fight. What does Earth say? Every hand rose. The vote was unanimous. Then it is decided, Daon said. Send the message to every human facility in the solar system. Stay quiet, stay ready, and may God help us all. On Mars, a young soldier named Kyung-soo received the message on his datapad. He was 19 years old and had never seen combat. He sat in his small quarters and started recording a video diary. They want to take our homes, he said to the camera. Mom and Dad, if you are watching this later, know that I am not scared. Grandma used to tell me stories about the old wars, how we almost destroyed ourselves, how we learned to be peaceful. He paused. But she also said we became peaceful because we were too good at war. Tomorrow they will learn why we stopped fighting each other. In the asteroid belt, Colonel Minji walked through her mining facility. Workers operated massive machines that moved rocks the size of mountains. To the galaxy, this looked like simple mining. But Minji knew better. Continue standard operations, she told her crew. Load the mass drivers. Calculate trajectories. When the order comes, we need to be ready. One of her workers looked nervous. Colonel, those are civilian ships coming. Are we really going to fight the entire galaxy? Minji looked at the young man. We are not fighting the galaxy. We are defending our home. There is a difference. And yes, we will fight, because we have nowhere else to go. On Luna, scientist Haewon stood in front of a massive array of equipment. It covered 3 kilometers of the moon's surface. The council thought it was a physics research project. They were wrong. How long until we are fully charged? She asked her assistant. 18 hours, Doctor. Good. When this activates, we will have perfect coordination across the entire solar system. Every ship, every station, every weapon will act as one. They have numbers. We have unity. Back on the council station, Ambassador Hyunwoo sat alone in his quarters. He looked at a picture of Earth on his wall. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds. Home. His communicator beeped. It was a message from Captain Taeyang. All fleets report ready. Defensive positions established. Awaiting orders, Hyunwoo typed a response. Hold position. Let them make the first move. We are still following galactic law. For now. He looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the council was preparing their forces. They thought this would be easy. They thought humans were primitive and weak. They were wrong. Earth had stayed quiet for 200 years. Not because they were weak. Not because they were afraid. But because they chose peace. Now the council had taken away that choice, and they were about to discover what humanity looked like when peace was no longer an option. The 30-day countdown had begun.